What up, CuZZo?
What up with you?
Oh man, chilling. How you feel?
Another day in the life, man. I can't complain. How you feeling?
Oh man, I feel good, man. I had a productive day thus far, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Indeed, for sure.
Yeah, man. So I have some questions for you.
Shoot.
I know we kind of talked about it, man, but I know you doing this fast, man. So how's it going?
Oh yeah. I mean it's going, man. It's definitely been an experience, you know. I think this is day 15. No, day
Day
16.
16. Day 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
Day 16 of all great fast, coupled with intermittent fasting. So it's definitely been something that I've enjoyed up until a certain point, but I'm definitely glad that it's just about over.
Glad
Uh,
it's coming to an end.
yeah, glad it's coming to an end. Yeah, 'cause, yeah, I am looking forward to the next, availability of the next challenge I take on. But in all seriousness, it's been great. I've been able to gain energy. Um, of course, lose some weight, and overall health just feel better. So thank you for
So
asking.
absolutely. So I did have one other question.
Hmm.
So I know when you switch things up, especially with when you have a family, it kind of gets, or it kind of switches things up, or you kind of have to work things within that framework, because usually the family eats something different. You know what I mean? How do you work around that? Like, eating regularly, unless they're on it with you. Um, they're eating regularly, and you have your certain regiment that you're following.
Yeah, I mean, based on our family dynamic, I mean, we're not a family that usually sits down at the dinner table. We might do it once a week or twice a week. It just depends. But I just generally go get what I need Sundays, and I just fill up the refrigerator. So you either with me or you not with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you gonna end up getting on because there's so much fruit in the refrigerator. You're gonna have to eat some to get to what you're trying to get into. So it's like you got to get on it to get around it.
Right.
To get to the stuff you
Absolutely.
want. So that's just my tactic. Yeah, I mean, I have my daughters. My oldest daughter, she kind of went on it with me for like, I think she did 7 days.
Oh, that's dope.
You know, she felt better after it. She gave me some good feedback. And then my 14-year-old, she went on it with me here and there, and then off of it, then on it. So she
Right.
was a good sport. And then, I mean, that's really it. Everybody
What
else
about
is kind
wifey,
of,
man?
nah, man. She ain't with it. I mean, she looks at it and just does her own thing, but I don't force
Right.
anybody to do anything I do because these are my personal tributes, or my personal journey that I'm on for myself. And of course, you want to inspire, your family to be healthier. So, I mean, that's just what I do. And hopefully they pick up some things along the way and, kind of take on some of these good habits that I have. And they do, time here, time there, but for the most part, everybody does what makes them happy. And I never try to force anything on anyone. But when things start to go another way, it's like, all right, well, I told you what to do, how to do it, so that's why we're here now. So hopefully they pick up on how to be more proactive and have more of a balance, in terms of your eating style, because it gives you a little bit a better leg up when things happen or you get sick. So yeah, I mean that's just the thing there. So
Absolutely. That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
mhm.
So, man, thank you everybody for joining us, and welcome to the show. We
Yeah,
got
yeah.
Jamel in the building.
Yo,
and we got
About
myself, Marco.
okay. I was like, I
Yes,
couldn't
sir.
even hear it, but I heard that one, the last one.
Oh,
All right.
you heard the last one? Let me see.
Mhm.
Let's see if we could do that again, man. Heard that right there, no?
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. And that's for your boy.
There we go.
Yeah,
Sound
man.
like
So we what did you say?
sound like you driving a hybrid over there.
Hey man, Tesla gang.
Tesla gang.
Hey, it's crazy. Speaking of Tesla, I mean, Tesla wasn't actually involved, but the person that that I had this encounter with today, um, they seem like the type of person that would slash up a Tesla. You know that gene pool we were talking about?
Mm, definitely chromosome missing for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. So so I was taking my son to his swim lessons this morning because Friday, we have something we have to do. So I normally go on Fridays.
I forgot to
So
ask you about that. Do you
yeah,
actually get in the pool
yeah,
with him?
yep,
Oh, that's cool. I'm like, all right, that's dope.
yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. So it's parent taught is what they call it. So yeah, we get in the pool. Um kind of worked out today. I actually didn't want to get in the pool today.
Mm,
So um they they didn't put me down for today. Their mistake.
mm,
So they said, we'll give you a individual session. So it was one on one. So it was an instructor,
sweet.
working with him one on one. So yeah, I was like, cool. I don't have to get in the pool. I could just, give him a shower real quick and we out. But anyway, on the way taking him to his lessons, I'm driving down the street. It's 3 lanes. I'm in the middle lane, and it's like cars parked on the side. I think it was like a mobile home on the side as well. And so when I get to the intersection, this truck makes a right turn, and guess what? He turns at right in front of me.
Mm,
And then so I go around him on the left, and I pass through the light, and then the light changes. So
mm,
he's stuck at the light. And I hear a honk. So he honks at me, right? So then I'm at the next light. Then I'm looking at my rear view, looking, checking my mirrors, and then I see him pull up on the left hand side, and he's F you, why are you driving so fast? You blah blah blah. Like, bro,
mhm,
like what is going on with you? One, you cut me off,
mhm,
and then two, like it's not even that serious.
mhm.
Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
And
Yeah.
he had a long hair where it was bald underneath there, but he had this long piece that was flipped over, and he was trying to
Mhm,
yell at me and keep it out of his hair, I mean, out of his face. So I'm like,
right.
bro, like man, bye, bro, like get
Right.
on. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, but it was crazy. People. My mother always said, drive for yourself and for people, other people, because man, we know how people are. And for
Mhm.
him to cut me off, honk at me, and then try to argue with me about it was ridiculous. So anyway, man, we'll move on, but be safe out there. Drive for yourself and for others.
Indeed.
Yeah, man. So jumping into the topics, we know tariffs have been like the number one topic, and it doesn't seem like they're stopping. And let's see, a lot of countries like Mexico, Canada, and some smaller countries, they pretty much said like, "Hey, we want to work with you. We don't want this back and forth, with you." But China, hey, they playing hardball.
Mm.
I remember those movies, back in the day where they fall on their sword. I don't know if this is gonna be one of those situations,
Yeah.
but it's getting crazy out here. So I'm gonna play a quick video. Fox Business. Let's see what they have to say. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that and share. All right.
What happened, from what I understand. And I know
Let me go back.
Breaking news. Let's bring in Charlie Gasparino from Fox Business Network now. Whew, this is quite the moment, as you can imagine. The art of the deals all over the Twitter sphere right now, as people say. I mean, maybe this is the way he planned it. To John's point, Charlie, about the Treasury Secretary saying maybe you could say that he goaded China into a bad position for themselves.
Well,
don't retaliate; things will work out well, he said.
I mean, I want to tell you right now that Donald Trump outsmarted the world. Trust me, I'm an American. I support my president. But that's not really what happened here, from what I understand. And I know I'll get pushback, but here's what it is. First off, we should point out that one of the good things about this is that Scott Bessent is finally in the White House. He's finally leading this. I mean, up until a couple of days ago, it was Lutnick, it was Peter Navarro, the Commerce Secretary, the Trade Advisor. Very good. Overnight, the spike in yields on the 30-year and the confidence in the U.S. economy, on the ability to do deals with.
I wanted to cut that out. It's the wrong video. Hold on. I'm actually, yeah, let me say that. So he paused. There's a 90-day pause on some tariffs. But the tariff war with China is going to continue. So let me go ahead and play this one.
Tariff to 125%. But we are continuing to follow this here for you on live now from Fox, and we are getting some more tape playback here in just a little bit of some more remarks here from President Trump. But again, look at your screen right there as you are seeing the Dow surge as this 90-day pause is now hitting Wall Street, and investors are continuing to buy up these stocks here as they are feeling much more confident as the stock rebounding right now in real time, as you can see. And you can see that huge, massive surge of more than 2,200 points in the green right now. And again, what we are seeing now is you are seeing a lot of the options markets that you are seeing the puts being sold very quickly. And that is causing this surge now where investors that maybe were betting down on the economy and betting down on different stocks, they do have to now sell at a much steeper price than what they were thinking about. And that is causing stocks to uptrend. And that is why we are seeing this big surge that is happening so quickly right now. But again, President Trump authorizing this 90-day pause on tariffs, and you are seeing really the stock market just boomerang.
Okay, cool. So let me share this one. I think I found the right spot right here.
Auction today. But if you can't sell your treasuries, guys, and people are unloading your treasuries, like Japan, which is, I believe, the largest foreign holder after China.
Just to be clear, there was an auction that just happened a few moments ago that Bessent just referenced, and it was a healthy auction, Charlie.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Right. So we got a good, healthy auction on some of this stuff. But be real clear, there were problems in the plumbings of the market. And from what I understand, and I'm talking to sophisticated, I'm not talking to some guy at, trading off his.
Man. All right. Let me find another video.
All right.
Yeah. All right. I think I finally found one.
All right.
The greatest days in American economic history we have had. I think we're going to call it the art of the reciprocal trade deal. And I'll tell you, all the nervous Nellies on Wall Street who try to undermine us consistently underestimate the power of the president to negotiate. What have we got here? We are at a place now where we have a broad-based 10% global tariff on. Well, we negotiate over the next 90 days with all of these countries who have come to us. And the mission, Charles, in these negotiations is to dramatically reduce our trade deficit, level the playing field,
Right.
get rid of all the tariff differentials, get rid of all the non-tariff barriers. Dow 50,000. Charles, I've said this before. It's going to hit that. We're going to have a broad-based recovery in the S&P 500.
Right.
Charles, this is
All right. So I guess we could talk about the market since I can't seem to find that video, the exact video about the 125% tariffs, which, you know, we kind of know that that's what he imposed on China.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of countries who, you know, I don't want to be rude and say bend the knee, but they, you know, conceded, you know, pretty much, and you know, they're willing to talk and play fair, right? So he put a 90-day pause on those tariffs for those countries, and let's see. Yeah, so he put a 90-day pause on those tariffs for those countries, but China, you know, from our last video, China is one of the most egregious, you know, countries, you know, out there as it relates to uh, tariffs and how they, you know, tax our, you know, the goods that, you know, we send to them, and, you know, vice versa. You know, young Nancy, as we saw, she was talking about how not only um, do they tax us, you know, with tariffs, not only is that really high, but also when we have a company that's over there in China, they want to know they steal the intellectual property of that company, and then they use that information to undercut that company, and you know that's putting those companies out of business. They're able to sell their products super cheap, you know, and so you have these companies, you know, unfortunately, like, you know, like what Sheen, Temu, you know, all of those companies like that that sell really, really cheap goods. But, you know, I'm not saying those in particular, but there's a lot of those companies out there that steal the information or the, you know, intellectual property of these said companies, and, you know, produce them at a low rate. And then, you know, you can't fight against that. You know, it's hard to, you know, fight against that. I'm at the. Let me see. It's hard to, you know, sell the similar product when people are looking for something, you know, cheaper usually. You know, so taxing them, you know, getting them to play fair, you know, getting them to adjust the way, you know, they treat us, because I get it. Like, you know, you see it inside of our communities. They don't want to pour into our community, you know, they want to take from our community. You have all these different shops. I don't want to go too deep, but they have all these shops and places that we go to. Some of them are historic, Louisiana chicken, you know what I'm saying? One of the spots. Nail shops, all kind of places, that they go into our neighborhoods and they, take resources and take, money out of the neighborhood, and they don't put that money back in because they don't live in there. And it's the same thing. You have, these companies that, drain us of our funds, that like we're consumers, so we consume, heavy with some of these people, and they don't put the money back into America. And so it's like they want to continue to benefit from not having to do that. So I don't know how long this is gonna go. I don't know how long or how drawn out it's gonna be, but like I said, maybe they might fall on their sword. I don't know. They're willing to, take it to the very end, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, and you saying that and talking about that, I was just thinking, I was like, I wonder how much of that has to do with the debt that we are in with China. If we know how much debt, I'm not really sure, but I know it's in the trillions or the billions.
Yeah, but the thing is that money is not even going towards the debt. They're just getting extra money, you know what I'm saying? Out of our economy.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, I want to know how much that has to do with it in terms of there being agreements on tariffs and how they're able to make money. But I hear what you're saying. If they're making money, then how is that not going towards, the debt, that we are in with China? How is that not going towards, us paying off our debt if they're not, if they don't have any percentage on tariffs and our tariffs are whatever percentage, you know what I'm saying? So I would like to see if that has any, bearing on, the whole tariff situation. And if it doesn't, I definitely agree, what you were saying in terms of the economy being open and free as it's supposed to be, but everybody should be paying their fair share,
Right.
if it's going to be something that's coming outside the United States. For whatever reason, when you go to China and these other places, the goods are cheaper in terms of how they make them, but when they come in here, they don't pay any taxes. So it's like they're selling their stuff however they want to sell it, and then they're getting, I guess, you want to say they're getting it both on both sides, making the
Right.
products, or they're building the products there, then they ship them to the US, and then they put them together here, however you want to talk about it. They're double dipping pretty much, as
Right.
as that they would call it. And the way that this administration is doing it, yeah, people are going to feel the pinch because they've been getting it, or they've been living a certain way for so long, And like you said, that's just like, being on drugs, and you've been using drugs for so long, and then all of a sudden you get cut off. And it's like, oh, well, wait a minute, why are you cutting me off? They're not going to like it, of course, because it's been good for so long. You don't want that good feeling to go away. Same thing for China. It's been good for so long. Same thing for other people. I can start a business. I can, get all my products out of China, and they're going to be pennies on the dollar. So when I bring them back to the US, I can upcharge, pretty much 100%, 1,000%,
Right.
2,000%. And then that makes people here make more money off of this economy. But yeah, I mean, you're still making money, I don't want to say the wrong way. The system is capitalistic, but, we want to do things in a fair way, because I believe if we had a fair trade around the world, then it wouldn't be so expensive here. That's what I believe. 'Cause the
100%.
only reason why prices got raised here is because of agreements.
Yeah.
You know, you had auto industries move their plants out of the United States because of what? What's the reason?
The new Green
Taxes?
Deal is
The
what
the
they
new
call it.
deal?
The
Right.
new
The
Green
new
Deal. Yeah.
deal? Right. So it's like, yeah, that new deal doesn't work for the American people. It works against them. So
100%.
this deal, he's trying to help it work for the people. Yeah, it's going to hurt, in the beginning, but ultimately it's going to, make your economy stronger because it's more competitive around the world,
More self-reliant.
more self-reliant. There you go. If I
Yeah.
could make stuff here, and I can build stuff here, then we have more jobs here. If you ship all the work overseas, then there's no jobs. Then you
Right.
complain.
But I think
Then
it was
there's
a
no.
house of fallen cards, though. To your point. You know
Yeah.
that eventually, this stuff is going to come to a head. Eventually, all the cards are going to fall. Like to your point, all the jobs are going away. Going overseas, and so eventually, like, what do we have? You know what I mean? Like, the jobs are going to be scarce now. Bringing that stuff back over here, all those different industries, more jobs, stronger economy, more self-reliant, which will allow us to thrive. And I know people don't see it, like Nancy Pelosi talked about it. I had a video about Ross Perot when he was running, he talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is that, we created a monster, in China because we were pretty much funding them to get back on their feet, and then they got back on their feet, and it was like, okay, now we're just giving them a surplus of money, and now they're able to make other moves. It's like I come to you, hey, cuz I need somewhere to stay, man. I'm down and out. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no job. I get a job, then I go to school, and I'm not putting no money in the household, what I mean? And then, I get to a point where I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars and I'm still in the house just balling. I'm buying me all kind of stuff, buying me cars. I got houses outside of your house, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just crazy. Like they're buying stuff in Africa, they're buying
Mm-hmm.
stuff over here as well. So we
Yep.
created a monster, and now they don't want to get off the tip. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? For lack of better words, they want it all.
No doubt. No doubt. So this, I guess, what they're trying to do is, like you said, make America more self-reliant again. Because if we're relying only on being a consumer nation, then that puts us at a disadvantage.
100%.
Most of the people here, or most of the jobs that you have here today, they didn't exist 10 years ago. The
100%.
the jobs or the stuff that you're doing, they didn't exist 10 years ago. So it's like most of the jobs that you have, or that are left, or factory, people were making stuff, fabricating stuff, um, you know, raw materials, all those things. So it's like
One other
now.
thing that they're introducing back into the space is for power, energy, coal. So Trump was talking about open up coal factories again for energy.
Right. Yeah, because I remember during the Obama administration, they were trying to close down the coal factories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like you're trying to make everything electric, but you need gas, you need coal, because your infrastructure, you won't be able to make it everything electrical. This is not Tron. You can't put everything on the grid. I'm sorry.
Man.
You try to do that, it's definitely going to put you at a disadvantage to where everything can get shut down by
Right.
EMP, or it can be hacked. There can be
Yep.
bad actors around the world can get into the system or the mainframe and shut you down. And it's easier to do these days because everything is proprietary and it's everything is shared so much, it's easier to do, you
Right.
know?
And it's crazy if
So
they decide to, you know, cut us off from certain resources and we don't produce resources or, inside of the United States, we're gonna be in trouble. It's something that,
Mhm.
like you said, we're consumers. If they cut us off, we SOL.
Right.
So that's why I think it's important, for us to start, being self-reliant. I think, that's what he has in mind, and that's why
Mhm.
he's pushing this, and for somebody to already charge tariffs and already get an egregious amount of money from us, how is it that I don't understand how they think this is okay. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. Like what is that, 1996? I think Nancy was talking about. It was already at 33. I think they were at 33% tariffs to our 2%. And so I don't know what the exact number is today, but it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. But anyway, man, we're gonna move on to the next topic, unless you had something you wanted to share. Oh, you know what? I found that information. Let's see. Hopefully this is accurate. There we go. So the 20 countries US debt, I'm sorry, holding in the most US debt. So China, $759 billion. So damn near a trillion.
So in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And yep, Japan a trillion, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean I don't know where it's going. I don't know if China is gonna, how they're gonna play it, but we'll see. Let me see which one of these I'm gonna play
We
first.
shall.
I'll play this one first. So this video right here, I'm sure you have experienced. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm sure you have because I don't know, but I know I've experienced something similar. You go out with your friends and the bill comes, you eat moderately and then they decide they want to, turn up, and then when check comes they want to split it. Let's let's see.
I'm not splitting no check. I told him to get simple. I'm not splitting no check with y'all, so I don't know why y'all trying to split no check. I'm not doing it. I didn't eat all that y'all ate. Y'all getting drinks, y'all didn't get all that. I got this. No, it don't matter. It's my birthday. I got it paid for. We're not gonna do this birthday. So y'all trying to split the check? I'm paying for your shit. I'm paying for my own shit. We need to get simple since I'm not splitting no check. I can't wait till 24 hours. Why am I splitting the check with y'all? I'm not splitting the check. I'm at home. I'm paying for my own shit. I'm not splitting no shit because I just eat all that. Got drinks and all that y'all got. Oh, we always do that. We don't. I don't always do a fuck thing. I don't do it. I be by myself. I be by myself. I ain't by I pay for my side. My food. I don't eat it. I'm not splitting no shit. Don't drink no more of this bottle. I ain't got to. I ain't got to. I'm too proud.
All right. So what you think about that?
I mean, it just comes down to the people you with. I mean, I don't usually have to deal with stuff like that because if I'm eating out with people, I'm usually covering the check, or I say, okay, I got the food and y'all get the tip. Or if I'm doing a big party, I let everybody know, hey, I got the food, but if y'all want to drink, y'all got to go to the bar. You got to set rules, ahead of time, so you won't have that issue. But yeah, I've never been a part of something like that because, again, it's the company you keep. So for everybody just think, oh, we just gonna come and eat, and then we just put in together. No, that don't work like that. Usually, it's like we gonna split these checks because you got what you got, you pay for what you get. So if you got 6 drinks and you got a meal, that's what you got to pay for. Yeah, we can split it, but this is your part, so you got to pay for your part. Simple as that.
Yeah, this is new to me. The whole split your check. I mean, just split the check 5 ways, no matter what the check is. And I've seen a lot of back and forth about some people saying like, oh, it shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to split the check. And then some people saying, you know, I didn't buy that. I shouldn't have to split the check. I shouldn't have to pay for that. And I'm more on the side of, I only had this. You know what I mean? Hey, I didn't get 10 drinks, you know. I shouldn't have to pay for your split your 10 drinks that you had. And I don't know, maybe that's they might call me broke. They might have a broke mindset, but I don't care. Hey, I didn't pay for that. You know what I mean? So we need to figure this out. And I was talking to my lady yesterday, and I showed her the video, and I was just saying like, hey, if this happened to me, I'm going to the bathroom. Like, hey, I had this, and this. Can you charge me for it? And I paid that and whatever the tip is. Um, I ain't balling yet like that because of where I could take everybody out. Or I haven't taken everybody out like that to where I just cover all the food for them unless it's like, you know, um, you know, maybe a few of us. But like a group, like, 6, 7, 8 people, nah. Nah. So I think it was crazy for them to get mad at her, you know, that she didn't want to pay for that bill. And you saw her food, you saw what she had. She only had, you know, a plate, and I think she had a shot. But then if you looked at their table, they had all these bottles and stuff like that, all these cups on their table. Hell no. I ain't gonna do it. What too short say? You could call me a bitch. I could call you a bitch. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't about to pay for that check, cause hey, sorry. I ain't gonna do it. We're gonna have to figure this out. We're gonna have to uh let me see. Yeah, I think you know what? Thinking on it, I think that happened to me one time. Like somebody came, they ordered their food, and then they was like, "Oh, I gotta leave early." And then at the end of the thing, we find out we don't have enough money, so everybody had to, or the people that would or did, put in more money, and that's crazy too. I think um, like we're asking these other countries to do, pay your fair share, like pay what you owe, man. Stop trying to skimp. If you can't afford it, you need to stay your butt at home. Unless I say, hey y'all, let's go out to eat. I got you. Then that's different. And the messed up thing too, it was the girl's birthday. It was her birthday. She said, I don't know if you heard in the video, she was like, oh, I got my stuff paid for, you know. But how y'all trying to make her split the bill for the stuff? And it's her birthday. She probably more than likely invited y'all out, celebrated with her, but not for her to have to pay for it. I don't know. People are crazy. I don't know what to say about that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let me see. I got one more. Let me know. Let me see. It's the last one. We'll share the other ones another day. All right, let me know if you can hear it, CuZZo.
These are the requirements that you need to have in order to date me, a single mom of 3 kids. Number 1 is that you need to be making at least 130K a year, and you need to have at least 2 side hustles. If you cannot make 130K or more, then you are out of my fucking league. How do you expect to give me money for my kids if you only make 50K a year? Second is I don't date men that are younger than me because for obvious reasons. So if you are 26 and over, then you qualify. 26 to 35 is the age limit. Okay, I feel like 35 is pushing it because they look old as fuck already. Oh, I'm 26. I'm a baby. So yeah, you have to have at least 3 cars under your name. Your second car has to have 8 seats because I have 3 kids. So I want them to be comfortable whenever we go with you on a trip or something. You want me to come with you? I'm gonna bring my kids, and you need to have enough space for my kids. So that's why I require you to have an SUV and a vehicle of your own if you're going to be dating me. Another requirement is that you have to have a property under your name, and you have to be looking into getting your second property. Have to get a home that has 6 rooms because each of my kids have to be in their own room. So you have to be considerate. Purchase a house that has 6 rooms because that's only common sense. And if you cannot meet those requirements, then you're not the fucking one. The last requirement is that it has to be pink. If it's not pink, no. Pink and brown go together. Pink and brown, like what? Duvalin, you know?
Just think about that. Are you hopped off?
That's interesting. It's interesting and creative. I don't know how realistic it is, but in her mind, it's probably very realistic. So, I just look at it from a standpoint of, are you someone that deserves, what you're seeking or are you asking for? Yeah, I can want something all day, but have you worked for it? Do you deserve it? Are you someone that a person like that can provide like that will be looking for? Do you have the qualities? Do you have the characteristics? Do you have the discipline for somebody that, commands that, from a woman? And 9 times out of 10, they're not, because they're living off an ideal or fantasy that they heard somewhere or somebody said something that was popularized, by whatever influencer or pop culture moment. And
Right.
now they feel like that's what they're supposed to have. That's what they deserve, and which is cool, keep looking for that, but just know that it's very highly unlikely, from my standpoint. That's the way I look at it. It could be, I could be wrong, everything I'm saying I could be proven wrong, but until then, let's see.
Yeah. My first thing is, did the first 3 guys that you were with, was that the same requirements you had for them? Then my next question is, what happened to those 3 guys? If those are the requirements that you have, where do they fall short at to no longer be in your life or in the kids' life? I don't know if they're in the kids' life or not, but you're not with them because you're talking about seeking after someone else. And then, you have to ask, like, all those things that you required, is there somebody out there that wants to do those things for you that meets your requirements? I don't know, man. It's tough because I grew up a certain way. You know, um, I was taught to treat women a certain way. But these days, when you have women that talk like this, it sounds ridiculous. It's like what has happened to women? Like she's so delusional. If she has all those requirements, I'm pretty sure the percentage of men that meet that is like under 10%. All of those requirements. And the other unfortunate things, I don't know if she has boys, but she's raising her kids or even girls. She's raising them to have a messed up mentality when it comes to life and and expectations. I don't know if she's sharing with them that, you know, like what is she doing for like to be an example? I don't know. She didn't talk about herself really. So I can't really say that, she's a bad person. But just like a lot of us, we have, some self-inflicted wounds. Like she has 3 kids and not married. So where was this thought process, during that time? I don't know. Uh, she didn't talk about any of that. And I would love to look at like the comments to see, what people's response was. I'm sure delusional is one of them. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't really know what to say. Um,
Yeah, you set it off pretty much. I mean, when it comes down to it, none of those things factor in from the beginning, from the original, three. Why it took three for you to come to that realization, I'm not really sure. So, I don't know how, again, realistically, you're being at this point. If that's not something that you started off with in terms of a mindset. I don't really know what shifted other than, the speech that you're using. The whole, you know, thought process behind it is it's not really going to be conducive to you getting what you really want. It's based on your actions, not what you want and what you say. Why, one of your car?
100%. Yeah, I agree. And our kids, they learn by what we say, but they more so learn by what we do. And so hopefully she's, teaching them and guiding them in the correct way. And hopefully their fathers are around too, so they could have a different mindset or difference of outlook on how things should be uh as it relates to a relationship. Because for you to require these things of somebody, and you have self-inflicted wounds, and putting stress on another individual, that I don't know, it's just ridiculous to me to hear her speak like that. So anyway, I digress. Well, I can see your ear. I'm not, I'm not, yeah, it's clean too. Yeah, just to let you know. Nah, but man, we're gonna go ahead and call it a day. We had to hop on earlier, because we have something we have to take care of on Friday. But we still wanted to make sure you guys have a show. Um, we appreciate you. what we always say, or what I always say, my cousin reiterates as well. Make sure you get understanding, man. We don't know where this Trump tariff war with China is going to go, or U.S. war, because I'm with a lot of what I'm with why he's doing this, I should say. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes, and we'll keep you posted. Shout out to you, CuZZo, for hopping on. We appreciate you. And if you had any closing remarks, go ahead and shout them out. You have any closing? Anything closing? Anything to say in
As
closing?
always, appreciate you, man, for setting it all up. Definitely one day soon we'd like to be more stable as we do these shows, because these are definitely starting to become, something I look forward to. So working on that. And man, as always, man, just do your research, and start to work on thinking for yourself, and not just accept anything that, people give to you in terms of a thought process. So that's it. Appreciate you. See you next time.
All right, guys. Peace.